Namaskar, warm greetings from DELNET Developing Library Network, New Delhi, and CISCO Systems Incorporation. Distinguished speakers, Ms. Ravina, Mangilal, Technical Solutions Specialist, Mr. Ayush Kunwar, Accounts Manager, Mr. Najib of CISCO Systems Incorporation, Shrikesh Kumar, President DELNET, Dr. S.S. Murthy, Vice President, Dr. P.R. Goswami, Treasurer, well-known national and international library experts, institutional heads, library and information science professionals, computer science and IT professionals, cybersecurity experts, educational administrators, faculty, researchers, scholars, officials from CISCO, and my colleagues at DELNET New Delhi, and also its coordination units at Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Pune. Ladies and gentlemen, I, Dr. Sangeeta Kaul, Director DELNET New Delhi, on behalf of the organizers, extends a very warm, hearty welcome to all of you who have joined us from different parts of India and many other countries across the globe, including Bangladesh, Bhutan, Canada, Indonesia, Iran, Mali, Nepal, Nigeria, Pakistan, Qatar, Sri Lanka, UAE, UK, and USA, to today's webinar on best practices to protect against ransomware attacks, being organized by DELNET and CISCO, which will shortly be delivered by the esteemed experts. We are much grateful to each one of you for your very overwhelming response to today's webinar, as we have been able to get the participation of more than 2,000 professionals from across the globe to this session. At the very outset, on behalf of DELNET, we would like to express a very warm, sincere gratitude and thanks to the CISCO Systems Incorporation for collaborating with DELNET in organizing today's webinar session. CISCO, a global leader in IT networking, is a name to reckon with in the world of technology, as they have been offering unparalleled solutions for past nearly 4 decades and have been making a profound impact. Today, we all are also witnessing a wonderful occasion wherein the two organizations which are working relentlessly in the field of networking, DELNET, specializing in library networking, and CISCO, the leader in IT-based networking, have joined hands together to conduct the most enriching session. We are much thankful to the distinguished speakers for acceding to our request to deliver the invited talks, and we are also much appreciative of the support and coordination extended by CISCO team members. It's a profound privilege and honor now for me to request our speakers, to kindly, we don't want to stand between you and our distinguished speakers, to really take you now into the best practices to protect against ransomware attacks. Each of one of us would like to feel more secure and safe, and we are in the best of the hands as we have the distinguished speakers from CISCO who are going to now deliberate on the central theme of today's webinar. May I have a pleasure of requesting Ms. Ravina Mangilal to take the session forward. Ravina, I have an immense pleasure once again in welcoming you, and may I request you to kindly start the deliberations. It's over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Sangeeta. You have introduced us very well, and trust me, it's going to be a really good session. So let me share my screen. Just let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, very much, Ravina. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ravina Mangilal. I'm the Technical Solution Specialist in Total Security at CISCO. I have my colleague Najad, who is a Technical Solution Specialist and who will be answering to all your questions. Please put in the chats if you have any questions in between the sessions. We will be happy to address. So today's session is going to be all about the best practices to protect against ransomware attacks. Before I even begin with the session of the best practices that we need to have to prevent from the ransomware attack, let us first understand what is a ransomware, right? What is a ransomware? It is basically a typical malicious software that holds your system as an hostage. Now, what do you mean by holding your system as an hostage, right? It's a typical, in Indian language, I would say, kidnapping your data. Have you ever thought about that, a situation that, where somebody could kidnap your data, right? It's a really funny thing, but also a serious one to focus on. We never knew that our data will be kidnapped, and how it is kidnapped, that it is encrypted. So what happens is this malicious software sitting in your systems, in your corporate networks, right, will slowly encrypt your data, and you will not be able to access any of it until somebody provides you that decryption key. And what is the guarantee that after the decryption key that they provided you is actually going to, decrypt your data, or is it that going to save your brand value, right? We'll see how the ransomware has evolved. Now, when somebody is, holding your data and encrypts it and doesn't provide you that it is needed when you need it, right? How they threaten you that, hey, if you don't pay me this much amount, this much billions of amount, then we will just put your data across in the market. Your brand value will get compromised. A lot of banks, industries out there, their data is so critical, right? Say even in the manufacturing industries, you have this formulas, say chemical formulas for your products and everything. So which is very important. What if it gets in hands of the cyber attackers? They will threaten you, and even if you pay them the amount, we are not sure that you will actually be able to get the data and your brand will still be secure. So that is what a ransomware is. And who is behind this attack, right? We understand there is such an attack. We understand that, ransomware is this dangerous. How is this all happening? Trust me, there is literally an organization who's sitting there, right? It is just not one person. And these malicious software are just available out there. What a typical person would do, right? An attacker, say for example, you have a ABC company, and you say you have John as your CEO. What this attacker would do is that, they literally study about your CEO, what they do the social engineering, they check your company website, how your sales website works, because obviously the sales website has a lot of information. They see on the LinkedIn profile whom the CEO is meeting, who are your partners, who are your stakeholders, how your typical email looks like, right? You have a certain signature in your email of your company. So what they do is they copy paste those signatures. They, just do a little modification here and there, but it looks exactly the same how it needs to look, right? And maybe your CEO name is John, right? What they do is they send an email with John, but with double N, right? You wouldn't even realize that it's not from the actual John, but it's someone from, so attacker is trying to send. So the email looks very legitimate. And say for example, that email is sent out to your entire company, right? And it so happens that, hey, can you download this file? This is something that, this is a new plan of the company. This is the new vision and the mission of the company. Every employee sitting out there would download it. And once they have downloaded it, then what happens? Suddenly there is an havoc. My systems are not working. There are calls that are going on. Hey, my system is behaving weird. I'm not able to access this. My system has just gone off. It just creates a mess. And this person who's sending you an email, trust me, they have not written this codes, right? They have not written this malicious software. It is all available outside there. All they have to do is just get in, put it in your email. They do some research, right? They do a very good research where you don't even realize that it's an attack that is coming in your place. So that's how it is. That's how powerful these cyber criminals have become. So, and we usually call them rebels, right? You see this, the headlines that ransomware has made in past few years. It's crazy. You can see that as city computers held hostages, FBI warns of increase in ransomware attack. There is a crazy increase in ransomware attacks and making the headlines. You see how from 1989 to 2021, how ransomware has been, evolved with time. It has become smarter and smarter. And it is very important for us to be smart here. Now we all understood that what a ransomware is, right? How attackers typically plan this entire setup. So to protect it, obviously, because we cannot just sit, tie our hands and sit there just watching these people take our data and creating a havoc in our market, right? How do we, come across and how do we fight this ransomware? The first thing that we need to do is to find out what are they even targeting, right? There has to be some target. Are they targeting? So Cisco has done the studies, right? And we have done the study and we figured out that the target is typically the workforce, the workloads, and workplace. Now in workforce, what do they target, right? Targeting identity, your passwords, your email ID, which is very, very important. So if they are not secure, then anybody out there can hack your systems, can get in, and usually they put in the malware in bits and pieces, and then slowly that turns into a ransomware. And then workloads, targeting your applications. We know everything is on the cloud now, nothing is on premises anymore, right? So it's very important to have security on those applications. Workplace, targeting your devices, your corporate your corporate devices, your laptops, be it even at your home devices, your phones, everything. Everything can be hacked, right? So typically what would we do is that identify the doors through which they can get into our network. And these doors are workplace, workloads, and workforce, right? So looking into this, keeping this in mind, Cisco has come up with various solutions, how we can protect them. What are the best practices, like we discussed, right? What are the best practices? The best practice would be that how the best practice is how you secure your workforce, workload, and workplace. And how would you do that? We'll discuss about it in the next slide. Now, what are the current trends that have implication for ransomware? The current trends, we see that the future work has become hybrid, right? The apps all are distributed across there. Now future work has become hybrid, as in you see that before COVID the situations were very, very different. Now people are very different, right? A lot of companies have put a work from home in place. People want to work from anywhere, I would say, which is which also comes with some advantages and disadvantages, right? You accessing from anywhere, applications, sites, and working from anywhere could risk your data, right? It's so scary. Also it's so scary to even think about that. We don't know who's today who's looking at whom and what data out there on the internet, right? So with this trends also comes a lot of say pros and cons, and such con is the ransomware. What is the solution, right? We all are here in this webinar today to discuss and understand what are the solutions out there to prevent this ransomware. Well, the solution is combine your network and security. It's very, very important. We all understand you need to have the best network, right? Cisco is here to provide the best routers and the best switches. But well, if you just provide the best quality of network and don't provide the best security, then your network is of no use. So it's very important for all of us to combine this network and security together. And how we do that is, for example, you see, right, there are a lot of different kinds of ransomware. There are web ransomware, there are endpoint ransomware, the email. There are various ways that the ransomware can get into your system and destroy your entire system and your brand. So using this various machine learning, artificial intelligence, we can protect your system. We have various products out there who can be there in all your network points, right? For example, in your network, you have endpoint devices, you have emails, you have cloud applications, you have various devices in place, where we have various security solutions for each devices, and make sure we're not opening any door for any ransomware. Now, there are the three, there was this question that was pasted that, what are the strategies that you can use to prevent the ransomware? Well, the strategies are you need to prepare, you need to detect, and you need to respond to these ransomware. These are the three main strategies that you can use. How would you prepare yourself? It is very, very simple. When you first need to understand how your network looks like, right? And what are the open doors that are there, and what are the security solutions you can place in. I will show you the security solutions that you can have at your network, which can help you prepare to fight against these ransomware. So it's very important for you to be prepared, and then comes detect, right? So once you're prepared, you will be very easily be able to detect that there is some ransomware in the in your network, and after you detect it, how well you can respond it. right? If there is any say, if how do you if for example there is any system infected, then what is action that you would take? You can quarantine that system, right? So that it doesn't infect anybody else. It's just like happens in COVID, right? We were not all prepared. What happened? It was it was a mess. Even after detecting, we couldn't respond well, we couldn't quarantine well, it's just spread. So it's very important to prepare, detect, and respond. These are the three strategies that you can use for, against ransomware to protect yourself. Now, this is a unified ransomware defense. Okay, so we have email protection, web protection, endpoint protection, access protection, various protection. We all know that today anywhere you go, right, you be it any institutions, manufacturing industries, colleges, corporate networks, any firm for that matter, what is that one thing we use to communicate? It is email, right? It's very, very, because we feel that this is the most safe way, and it provides a lot of proof that yes, we have communicated this content via email. So everybody is using email out there, right? And it is very easy for an attacker to get into your network via an email. We hear a lot of things about the phishing emails, right? So we see that an email would look so legitimate and so tempting for you, right? For example, I've been googling a lot from in past about the Netflix movies and everything. I so happened to get an email that, hey, you know what, there is this movie available which is of your interest, can you please click to this link, it's just free Netflix and everything. And I'm so tempted to click, right? So this is what happens in your day-to-day life. You're so tempted to click, and when it happens, what happens when you click? There is a malware that enters into your system and then turns into a ransomware. So email protection is very important. Cisco has a solution for it, which is called Cisco Secure Email, right? When you have this Cisco Secure Email in place, we make sure that your inbound and outbound traffic that is going out of your network is monitored. We make sure there is no whoever is sending, right, the email is actually coming from the right domain, right, and it doesn't have any malicious file inside there. So email protection is one of the ways that you can close the door for the ransomware to come into your network. And then we have a Cisco umbrella, which is, it is typically designed for say the entire internet, say cloud security, right? So Cisco umbrella is the solution, I would say, the right solution for the ransomware. It sits on the internet. What it typically does is, for example, whenever what we do, right, usually when we wake up, we see, we browse something, we type in on the internet something, it goes to the internet, right? The first way we are exposed to the internet is that we type something, and what is that something is a domain name, right? Facebook.com is called a domain name. Facebook.com has an IP address, but we wouldn't remember that, right? It's just like a phone book. For example, you have my number. So if you want to call me, right, hey, I want to call Ravina. So you will just type in my name instead of typing in my number. So it's just like that. Instead of typing in your IP address on the internet, you type in like facebook.com. So that's how it opens. So the first thing is that how you go to the internet is by typing in some domain name, right? What if I say that we have a solution in place that can protect your network before you even get into the internet? What if I say that we have a solution that at the first layer itself, you get the protection? 80% of the attacks today happen at the first layer. Okay, so when I say the first layer, 80% of the attack, and most of the organization ignore this part, that they do not take care of the DNS layer security and they are compromised. So today, if I type facebook.com, and if that facebook.com is malicious, then Umbrella will block me there itself. I don't even have to open the site and do anything, right? How wonderful that can be. So I mean, all that hassle that you have to go through, right? After you open the site, and when you're communicating with the site, there is a two-way traffic. You download some file, and then the file is malicious, and in your system the antivirus acts and quarantines the file. All of this process can be prevented. We don't even have to go through all of that if There, if you have a Cisco umbrella, and at the first layer itself that the blockage happens, right? It so happens, it so happens that your attackers are so smart, right? Even after you connect with the domain and there is a connection that is established, okay? During the connection that is established, what if there is some malware that enters into your system? Well, Cisco umbrella takes care of that. It monitors whatever you're communicating, be it the encrypted traffic too. So there is no way that the ransomware can attack, enter any which way. And then we have our Talos, or threat intelligence, which I'll be talking about in further slides. So this is how powerful a Cisco umbrella is. I always say this, that three things are very, very important if you have to protect your entire organization. What are these three things? The first one is having visibility, right? It's very important to have visibility. Let me give you a very simple example of our state itself, right? You see India and the military. Now, how India has visibility has its satellite, right? With satellite, it's able to see the entire world, who is entering from where. If you don't have the visibility, then what's the point of soldiers being there? We don't know where the attack is happening from. How do you even act on it, right? So it's very important to have the visibility. So have the solutions in place for the visibility. Second is having the right control. Now you have the visibility. How do you have the controls? For example, if there is any attack, how do you control it, right? So have the right policies for some users. Okay, that you have a sales team, your finance team, say um, a sales, a finance, and HR team. They need to have a certain restricted access, right? For a finance person to have a finance site access is, I understand, but why a salesperson needs to have that access? Avoid unnecessary people getting access to unnecessary sites. So all these can be avoided by having the right controls. So right visibility, right controls, and the right protection. And how do you have the right protection? By having all these three things in place, right? Cisco umbrella provides all of these three things and focuses on all of these three things, which is very important for us to protect us from today, from the ransomware. Now, endpoint protection, right? There are various ways to get in the workflows. I talked about the work devices, right? The endpoint devices. So what if you have some malware out there on your endpoint device? Then we have something called a Cisco Secure Endpoint Protection, where it sits there. And for example, it so happens that you download a file. It was good, okay? While you downloaded, it was all good. It was all working fine. But after 10-15 days, it slowly starts behaving malicious. Yes, attackers are so smart. They're capable of putting such files into a system which can behave malicious after 10 to 15 days. Well, we have solutions in place who can monitor them continuously, and it will immediately quarantine them. So it's very important to have the endpoint protection too. And next comes our access protection, right? So I spoke about the passwords, the emails that are being stolen, right? So how do you make sure that your passwords and your email, I mean your IDs that are stolen, and it so happens that, for example, today my IDs are stolen and my passwords are stolen. How do I even still protect myself? Cisco has taken care of it. How it has Duo. Okay, Duo, you have heard about Duo. It's a I would say it's not a multi-factor authentication only, right?
Ravina, we have lost a connect with you. This is Ravina. It seems that some internet issue has happened at your end.
So
Ravina,
I
we are
just
not able to hear. Yes, we are not able to hear you well.
uh, can you hear me now?
I think we can hear you now. Yes.
Where did you last hear me?
Yeah, it was still here. Like when you were talking about from here, you may resume. I think we just lost for a minute or so the connection. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so sorry. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problems, please.
Yeah, so I was just trying to explain you about the multi-factor authentication, right? So you would receive a notification on your phone that, hey, is it you trying to log in O365 from this location at this time? I'll be like, no, it's not me, right? It is not me who's trying to log in. Maybe somebody has stolen my credentials. I deny it. That person, even though has my password, has my ID, cannot log in. That's the power that Duo has. And it's just a lot of free multi-factor authentication I'm sure is available in market, but it doesn't provide you the other features that Duo provides you. Like, for example, if you're trying to log in from any device, it also checks if your device is healthy enough. And now what I mean by healthy enough is that is password enabled, is firewall enabled, is file vault enabled, right? Is your software updated? Are you trying to log in from a good device or not? Are you logging in from a location where you're supposed to log in or not, right? For example, I want my applications to be logged in only from India, not from US. I can have that control too. So even that control is provided by our Duo, where you can, save your credentials. So authentication is very, very important, right? So the authentication protection is taken care by Duo. Now we saw that the effective security depends on the total visibility, right? As I always say this, that it is very important what you see. So you know every entity, you see every conversation, and understand that if it is normal or not. So you don't have to do it, right? Literally, I mean that, if you understand it is normal or not, it is your devices, it is your security solutions that sees it. It sees everything, and it sees that, hey, this application was accessed in the night 2 a.m. Suddenly I see millions of requests coming to this application, right? How is it even necessary? So you need to alert, right, and then respond quickly. So it's very important that you be prepared in all the situations, right before the attack, after the attack, and during the attack. So it's very important to be prepared in all the three situations. And then we have our Cisco Talos, which is the largest threat intelligence in the entire organization, on the entire planet, I would say. Now, what a Cisco Talos does, it's basically the brain of the computer, the brain of all the Cisco security solutions. Sorry, not the computer, but all the Cisco security solutions. So we spoke about, the ransomware. We spoke about how the ransomware is evolved. Also, we spoke about the best practices that we can, follow to overcome this ransomware, like be prepared, detect, and respond. There are various solutions which can, close these doors for the ransomware to enter into your system or enter into your corporate network, right? So various solutions like email security, Umbrella, Duo, which provides an authentication and everything. All these devices will be in your network, and it will provide a good security to your network. But what if I say that Talos with these security solutions will provide you a global view, right? When I say a global view, you will not just be seeing the attacks that are happening into your organization, but you'll also have visibility, which is happening in entire world, right? For example, there is an attack that happened in Germany. Okay, it so happens that the attack happened in Germany, and it is a very new attack, right? And Talos is informed about it, that hey, there is an attack like this, it behaves like this, and this is how it is. Talos will inform all the security products, right? All the Cisco security products that, hey, there's this attack that happened this way, right, in this city, be aware of it. And if the same attack happens in your organization in India, well, you don't have to worry about it because Cisco Talos already knows about it. So it has the entire global visibility. Now, what are the key takeaways from this ransomware is, right? So the key takeaways is that ransomware is evolving. It is not like, it was not like the old days where you typically understood that how a ransomware uh, you know uh, behaves. Like it just to, in the past, the ransomware were very, very different, and it was so evident that, this is something that is malicious, but now it has become very, very intelligent. So, and trust me, paying a ransom doesn't solve your security problems. It doesn't solve your security problems at all. So you have to build a layered security architecture based upon the standards. So you need to have, say, you have a network, you need to make sure all the doors are closed with the right security solutions in place. Trust me, we all think that it is only going to complex our network, but it is not going to happen like that. It is going to reduce the complexity by having the right security environment in place, right? You have to leverage the cloud-based and the real-time threat intelligence, which I just spoke about, the Talos threat intelligence, right? And you know what? We sometimes usually think that, okay, we have a team of, people sitting there who can monitor the who can monitor the threats and act in such a way. No, let's use the human brains in a better way, right? Let's automate everything. Let's automate the security actions to reduce the response time, right? So because humans can be used in a better way, and respond the threat, uh, can obviously analyze the threats and everything, but there are a lot of institutions who are still following the typical old way, where somebody raises the ticket and then somebody responds it. Let's not do that, right? Our main focus is to protect our entire organization with the right security solutions. Let's have that in place. So it's very important to automate all of it. Now with this, I have ended my presentation, but I would like to show you a small demo of how we have our, Cisco umbrella specially, and, how it is going to give entire visibility into a network, how it's going to protect the ransomware, and how it's going to help your network just be very, very secure. Just a second. I hope I was audible enough.
You are very much audible, and we look forward to having a look at the video.
Sure. Just give me some time.
Yeah, sure. Please take your time, Ravina. No problems. Ravina, if you permit, we do have Ayush also with us. So in the meantime, when you set up the things, can I request Ayush also to share his views on the topic today,
Sure.
please? I would like to now request, we have Mr. Ayush Kumar, the accounts manager at Cisco, the wonderful colleague, requesting him. Ayush, may I request you if you may just kindly unmute yourself, and if you may like to, say something on this occasion today. Pleasure.
Okay. Thank you,
We
Ms. Sangeeta.
welcome
Thank you
you,
for
and
inviting
thank you
us.
very much. Thank you indeed. Thank you. Please.
Pleasure. So thank you so much, the DELNET team and the leadership over here for inviting Cisco to be on the part of this panelist, and showcasing about the security. And thank you so much, Ravina, for taking and walking us through on the subjective topic. I understand technology has taken up to us to a next level, where we see a lot of gaps, where we see a lot of challenges. These technical problems and these kind of a security breaches has enormously increased in nowadays in the technology space. Now, as we have a lot many challenges that we come across in the technologies part of it, we also come across with lot many kind of these sneaks that happens through all these ransomware attacks, through a lot of the malicious websites that we access. The more the internet access that we have, the more we get ourselves exposed to the outside network, which allows a lot of the security concerns to our network. Nowadays, every organization has really taken up this charter to as the uttermost priority for their infrastructure, where they want to have the security in place, and these securities are absolutely has to be updated with the technologies, the kind of the next generation technologies nowadays that has happened. Companies like Cisco has really worked really hard on this. The kind of the investment that we do is almost more than $1 billion that we do on these research and developments to ensure that the security that we are providing to our customers has to be an absolutely the top of the chart, and it has to be 100% which fix the problem that the customers nowadays have. But yes, Cisco does give a 99.99% of the SLAs on all the security solutions that we offer, so that we ensure that there should not be an iota of scope which is left to where we leave any kind of a scope where the security becomes a challenge or the security breach happens to be. So with now I think Ravina has already started with this umbrella part of it, which is certainly going to talk about how the DNS layer of security is going to help you in overcoming all these kind of challenges. As I mentioned about the internet access that we do on the websites and all, these are also one of the major concerns. So with Cisco umbrella, these problems will certainly be resolved, and we'll now Ravina will guide you on how this solution will help you to overcome all these kind of challenges. So over to you, Ravina, now.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ayush. And we all understand that how accessing the internet has exposed us to so many breaches out there, right? Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you. So this is how an umbrella solution usually looks like, right? It's just a one single, cloud solution. You don't need a lot of people to manage it. I know that when we go to the market, we talk about a lot of security solutions, and you're always hesitant to buy anything, right? Because you need a team to manage it. Well, we don't need it like that. Anything like that here. Umbrella can be managed by just one person, and umbrella is not just designed for companies, right? It is designed for everyone at home, at schools, at colleges, at hospitals, at manufacturing industries, everywhere. It's so important for us to have this solution in place, because it is important to have the visibility into your network. I said, right, if you don't have the visibility, you will not know. So you can see here, right, with umbrella, you can see that how many people have connected, right? For example, I said that a lot of people work from home. They carry the devices at home. So you can see that, right now, this is just an example dashboard. So I see that there are 6 people who are working from home are connected to this umbrella. There are 3 networks out there, right? Maybe you have offices in different locations, say, for example, one in India, one in London, one in Germany, one in US. So you can sit in India, have this one dashboard, right? Have this one solution, and look at all the other offices that are at the different locations by just sitting at here. So you can see the total number of requests that are coming in, total number of blocks that are happening, right? And when I say the requests that are coming in, you can see the time at June 16 at 1 a.m. 1,965 requests that were coming in, right? The total number of blocks that has happened at this time, the security blocks, right? There are various, so you have the entire visibility into your network, the phishing blocks that has happened, how much that, umbrella could block it, all of that visibility is there. And the deployment of this just takes less than 30 minutes, okay? All you have to do is just point your DNS to umbrella, and all the requests of your internet will go via umbrella. So you see the right controls in place, so you can have your policies, right? For example, say I want to add a policy, it's very user friendly. Okay, everything, all the documents are just here. So for example, if you want to add your any policy, so you can just see that, how would you like to how do you like to be protected, right? I want to be protected based on some content. Say for example, I don't want that any gambling sites to be accessed by anyone, because we know that, see, all these ransomware, malwares, all of these enter via these malicious sites, right? I don't want my employees to access some gambling sites. I don't want them to access any adult content. I don't want them to access any gaming sites. So all of this can be is possible by just having such right controls in place. Okay, now for example, that you want say a group of your company, say for example your sales team, to be able to access a certain number of sites, right? Your team who's working from home can access a certain number of sites. So you can have a very specific granular policies for the group of people. Like for example, for roaming users, I would just want to add them into the policy. I want to have a specific policy only for them, right? I want to have a policy that can protect them from the malware. I want to have policy that can protect them from the phishing attacks, and a lot of them. And I can also integrate them with a lot of say other solutions I have in, right? So it's always, we say that, right? We work together, we give better results. So why not combine the security solutions that you have to give a better result, right? So you can integrate with checkpoints, Cisco AMP, Threat Grid, FireEye, and have a better security in place. So when you go next, so if you, for example, in Cisco, we believe that these are the high risk categories that any company needs to block it, right? If you want to go for the moderate ones, then there are moderate categories we have. And if you feel that you want to customize and have a certain destination list or content categories that you want to add in, you can add it. So for example, I don't want alcohol, adult content, and all of these fashion to be accessed in my premises, right? So you can do that. For example, gambling, you can just go next. So just a second. Yeah, high risk. And then you can also have these specific application controls in place. So if you want to have, like for example, certain people to access certain applications, you can also have that what categories that you would like to block in an application. Even that is possible. And then if, for example, if you want to do a file inspection, right, when you can check or uncheck this box. And typically when you have blocked all of this, right, how a block page would look like. So let's say we have this is just a test. So let's say I have added a policy, right? For example, I have added a policy to Jack London, right? Jack London is a person who's working in London. And I know Jack is trying to access, say, a gambling website, okay, gambling.com. I just run a test. How a typical policy would act when Jack London would try to access gambling.com. It says that, it was blocked for him. This is how a page would look like, and why it was blocked, because of the categorization under gambling. So this is how it is. So if, for example, I want to access any adultsite.com, right? If you run a test. So this is just, seeing that how a typical policy would behave once before even implementing it, because it's really scary to, just make any changes just like that without even testing it, right? So we don't want anything like that. So it says that, this category was blocked due to this reason, right? Now, for example, if I want to just access ebay.com, run a test. It says it was allowed. So because it was a normal e-commerce site, so you can just access it. So yeah, you can have the right controls in place. And when it comes to the reporting, right, for example, if you want to show due to some compliance reasons that there's a team who comes for an audit check and everything, so you can always pull out the reports, not just for them, but for higher management. You can schedule automatic reports that you can get in weekly, monthly, 15 days, and you can decide that what you need to see in that report. For example, I want to see that hey, my report needs to show that these were the applications, show me the high risk applications, what has been blocked, who has been accessing this application. So you can decide the content that you want to show and filter it beautifully and present it very nicely in front of your leaders. So this is how you can see that, all security activities in last 24 hours, right? Just a second, it's loading. So let me show you that, for example, what has been blocked, right? Let us see. Say 7,341 requests has been blocked in the past. So example, George Orwell was trying to access api.amazonvideo.com, right, on this, and it was blocked by public application, application blocked because streaming video, right? There are categories. So why it was blocked, each and every detail, right? What time, because of what, social networking, whatever it is, right? Each and every detail. So how amazing it is to have such visibility into your network, right? It's just scary to not know what is happening out there, and if you have that visibility, you can easily, I don't say that, hey, by having all the security solutions and everything, it's 100% you can be free of attacks, because we know that attackers are still smart, right? How are you even prepared that, okay, I mean, even if there is an attack, what would you do, right? I just want to share a typical example, right? Any attacker today will, want to attack the top firms, right? It'll go just Google, hey, what are these top 10 hospitals, right? It so happened there was a situation during COVID, right? This attacker might, typically search for the top 10 hospital, and one of the top 5 hospitals in Bangalore was attacked, right? I don't want to reveal the name, but it was attacked. It was hit by a ransomware attack. They were asked to pay huge amount, right? Now, typically, a hospital, when it is built, what a person would think, that you have to have the best infrastructure, best doctors, best nurse, best X-ray machines, best everything, right? But has anybody thought that a hospital can undergo a ransomware attack, even though having everything in best? Nobody in the wildest dream would have thought that there can be something called as a ransomware attack, and that hospital was in such a situation, right? A 50-year-old hospital was about to close within 5 days. Their whole entire, and how? Because they were not able to access their blood reports, they were not able to access their X-ray reports, nothing was happening, right? And they just called up Cisco. Hey, you know what? We are hit with this attack. Now what? We placed our Cisco umbrella there, right? And within no time, within 30 minutes, we were able to quarantine the devices that were affected, right? Obviously, we did not pay the ransomware for them, but yes, we could do what we did, right? So it's very important to have the right solutions in place, because at the end, it's just the panic that is created, right? So you can see here that you have such granular informations. When, like, for example, if you want to see the roaming computers, what it was blocked for the roaming computers, even that is also possible. So each and every detail is possible here. So let us see some application, right? For example, if there are certain applications that are, categorized as high risk, low risk, and medium risk, right? Just a second, it's loading. Here you can see that there is very high, medium, low, and very low risk. Let us see some high risk applications. So, it shows that what are the high risk applications. You see the chat GPT is also present here, right? It is categorized as one of the high risk applications. So here you can have, granular visibilities. So it is endless. You want to explore it, it is available. So you can all opt for free trials, right? So what we do is, in Cisco, we run Cisco umbrella free trial for 14 days. It can So what we do is, we just typically start point your DNS to your umbrella, and then we provide you a report after, say, 14 or 15 days, or say 30 days, whatever it is that you need for. And we show that, see, this is what happened in your organization from past 30 days. This is what umbrella could block. This is what your people have been doing. This is what they have been accessing. This is the sites that you have been accessing. These are the risks that is there if you don't have umbrella in place. So we provide that granular reporting and everything that you need. So there are a lot of free trials that are available. that is it from my end. Just a second, let me stop sharing my screen. Did I stop sharing my screen? Can you please confirm?
Yes, very much, Ravina.
Sure, just a second. Yeah, so I think there were a few questions, I guess, Sangeeta, which were supposed to be addressed by me, right? I see. Let me just read out these questions, right? The first question was, what are the recommended best practices for protecting against ransomware attacks? What are some effective strategies for preventing ransomware attacks? How can I safeguard my computers or network from ransomware threats? What steps should I take to minimize the risk of ransomware attacks? Well, all of these have just one answer. Let me read out that for you. As I said, right, you need to have the right security solutions in place. And the strategies is that be prepared for the three situations, right? Before an attack, what can you do? Right? What can you do before an attack? You can have the right security solutions in place. Educate. It is very important. So when we say educate that all of your employees, right? I say that humans are the weakest link, right? Because no matter what, if we are not educated, right, we so happen to click those links and compromise it. So it's very important to educate your employees. So when I spoke about the email security, what we also have a program with that, right? A security awareness program. Like, we send out the phishing emails to, the employees internally, and just, make the emails so tempting to click that those employees click it, and we say, hey, this was just an awareness, email. Be careful that tomorrow you might click on anything like this and your entire organization might get compromised, right? So it's very important to educate your people, right? So before an attack, what you can do is educate your people, have the right security solutions in place. So and then during an attack, what you can do. So during an attack, what you can do is, because of the right security solutions in place, so if there is any attack, right, they say some systems got compromised. How do you quarantine them, right? How do you even get the backup, or how do you get this organization still working? So you need to keep all these strategies in mind. And then after an attack, how do you remediate it? How do you still get your business running, right? So you have to keep all these three things in mind. And then there is also a question that, hey, is mobile phones, smartphones also infected by ransomware? Yes, it is. There's nothing that is left out there. I spoke about the umbrella solution. You can have your devices, mobile phones connected to it, which can protect you from any ransomware out there. It is freely available, umbrella, right? For you can just use the trial, 14-15 days. We can provide you the reports, and you can have the experience at how umbrella protects you from the ransomware, and how it can educate your entire organization that hey, this is not how you're supposed to behave, right? You are the weakest link. You need to have the right security solutions in place. So as an organization leader, I request all of you to look back to your network. Do you have the visibility? Do you have the DNS layer security in place? Go ask questions to your leaders, to your colleagues, to who is a security expert. Hey, in Cisco, I heard today that we need DNS layer security. Do you have the visibility? What are the solutions that you have, right? And what about if we have umbrella? Just take the trial. I don't say buy it today. It's nothing. It's not a business. Security is not a business. It is a necessity that everybody needs to have. It's because it's very scary out there. Tomorrow, if any data is leaked, even at homes, it's very important to have umbrella, because you don't know what your kids are trying to access on the internet. You don't want them to get access to certain contents that they are not supposed to access. That's the message that I want to give today, and these are the best practices that you can follow. Thank you, everyone. So let me know if there are any questions out there.
Thank you very much, Ravina. On behalf of each one of us, we have tremendously got benefited, with your truly enriching deliberations, enlightened us. You have truly enlightened us, on this very important aspect of ransomware. Each each and everyone, means each one of us have been seeing, knowing even the organizations that you have hinted out, who have miserably suffered, with this. And all of us, really have felt today, means through this session has been an eye-opener on many fronts. And thank you very much for sharing with us, huge expertise of yours, and also, as you have rightly said, it's more to do with the preparedness. It's not that we start thinking about it, when the tragedy strikes, and then we start thinking, hey, now what really needs to be done? There is not much of thought process which has to get into this. Organizations have to really, each one of us here, on this nearly 1,000 professionals who are attending, belonging to various kind of organizations, whether these are academic institutions or R&D organizations or hospitals, everyone has lot much at stake, and the more we are going digital, the more we are getting our lives, getting more at risk. So there's a greater need, as you have pointed it out, we have to really think about this to prepare, detect, and respond. So even it's quite amazing to know that at CISCO also you have a incident response system, just in line with certain that we have the Government of India certain, wherein all these are being reported, and that you bring in, what globally is being reported, and that's really something which is, we greatly admire that, effort of CISCO, because being at CISCO a global leader, so you are also letting everyone, to be at par at a global level, and letting the people to know that it's not something which has just striked you, it is also has happened somewhere else in some nook and part of the world. So thank you very much, Ravina. Today, there have been lot many takeaways from this session, and thank you for also for letting each one of us knows that our attendees can avail of this 14 days trial, which can let them know about the vulnerabilities. CISCO's umbrella product 14 days trial, which at least they would be able to know what are the existing vulnerabilities, and it's like a self-assessment of their own networks. So thank you so very much. It has truly been a great honor and pleasure having you, and also would like to thank Ayush, for sparing time and being there. Truly appreciated, Ayush, your presence here, and more so ever your tremendous support in organizing today's webinar session. It has been really a great pleasure for us that we have been able to join hands with CISCO in organizing this session. We would now like to make the floor open for questions, just for another 5-10 minutes, because we have fairly a good number of attendees who may like to ask. My first question, Ravina, I would just like to pose to you. What are the highest vulnerability entry point, the most vulnerable entry points for the ransomware attacks? Because CISCO would definitely be having much of your own assessments that since you providing the security solutions. So when we talk about the ransomware attacks, and this is for each one of us to know about it, what are the, if we really put it in the highest to the least? So among the 3 or 4 highest vulnerability entry points for the ransomware attacks, would you or Ayush may like to share that with us?
Sure. I'll take that up. So if you say the highest ones, right, it is through the internet, right? I mean, when it comes to the internet, as I said, right, the DNS layer security is very, very important. And the second one would come our credentials. Our credentials are stolen right and left, right? Our emails and everything. So when it comes to top, our DNS layer security is very important. Our credentials are important, and the phishing emails that we're getting it, right? These 3 places that, wherever the internet is exposed, so especially it's the internet that is, it's very important to protect there. So I would say the internet is the highest risk, through which the ransomware, tries to get in there. So yeah, that's very, very important, because our social media and everything, we put in out a lot of information there, right? So it's just easy for the attackers to read about you and get you there on via some email, or via some malicious site, because a lot of people out there, right, when they're accessing something, so there are a lot of malvertising, so the advertisements which are malicious are called malvertisements. So there are a lot of malvertisements there which we tend to click, right? So it's the internet. I would say, when the internet, if the DNS layer security is there, then half of your problems are solved.
Thank you very much, Ravina. Ayush, a quick question to you, and that is, we could notice from the Cisco's website, and I think we as a library and information science professional, that's how this question is coming from the library domain. We could notice that Cisco does publish a large number of publications, reports, and these are again the reports, quite highly informative reports, and I think there's a greater responsibility that it should reach out to the masses. It's not just simply to the networks as such, but also to the right kind of, the people who may be entrusted to. Would you like to let us know? There are two things. Number one is this publication. Another aspect that I could notice is that Cisco does have the Cisco Networking Academy program. I was really surprised, seeing that not many of us were really aware about this, and which has been in since 1997 that is being in operation, wherein you're doing a large number of these programs, with the academia. Would you like to just throw some light on this? Because especially today, these attendees, they are all from, the majority of them, they're all from the academic backgrounds, and also especially being library professionals, greater responsibility for us that, if we can help out, our own respective organizations, even to, ensure that Cisco is putting in so much of their efforts, it's like putting everything, onto it, but, but making it available, that information to the people who really would be needing it the most. And when we talk about this, I'm hinting more at the libraries. So if the libraries becomes the epicenters for disseminating that information further, what already Cisco is, trying to, highlight through its publications. Would you like to say something about these two aspects, Ayush?
Surely. That's a very relevant thing nowadays. Everybody, look up to a lot of the blogs, a lot of the publications, that we publish. Well, the idea behind Cisco of doing all these kind of publications is to enable people, and of course, this is something which is a publicly available site. We have been sending all these publications to our customers. We also have been sharing with our channel partners, who are, of course, giving an access to the customers to understand where does the Cisco, gets all these informations. When we talk about the security, we talk about the other products of Cisco. Of course, those are pretty confidential, the articles, but of course, those are publicly available. And of course, we have already done a lot of the nurturing to those articles. And on those basis of those articles, we are able to give you the right and the truthful information. Talking about the second point on this, about the Net Academy, which is the academy programs. Well, yes, Cisco does have the Net Academy programs, and this is a very widely been acceptable. And of course, a lot of the colleges and the universities have accepted so far. This is something kind of a simulation that we provide to the childrens who can, being a part of the learnings and the part of the academics, they can, visit to those. To these kind of labs, and of course they can have their hands-on to understand how this networking works. We remember, like, since the schooling has started, everybody talks about the networking, and we read about Cisco when we have been kids all around. But nowadays, Cisco has given the privilege to those students, and Cisco itself is, doing this kind of an investment with many colleges, and of course at a very nominal price. We are setting up these labs so that students also, tend to understand this is not just something which they can read on the books. They can, of course, get their hand dirty and understand how the networking works. So we talk about the complete network architecture. We also help them to get them enabled on the certifications. We also give you one of the the administrator who becomes the kind of an in charge, who also becomes the one of the guider, the tutor to understand, who can also give the learnings to those students. That these labs can certainly help them to groom up in professional career as well, and of course in their academics as well. So we are very much available with the NetAcad program, and if anybody wants to reach out, I'll just put my email address over here so that you can reach out to us. And of course, Ms. Sangeeta will also guide you, how they can reach out to Cisco for getting the NetAcad program started in their colleges. And of course, Cisco does the branding for you. So it's just a two-way marketing that we are doing. One is, of course, the colleges can do it, and of course, Cisco will also help you in getting that marketing done.
Yeah, so just to add that, Sangeeta, we have a lot of certifications like Cyber Ops Associate, Cyber Ops Professional, CCNP Security, CCIE Security. I think in in anybody's organization, at least person needs to do the certification to educate themselves and spread that education in your in industry, right? So it's very important to have such certifications to educate yourself on today's market how security looks like.
I think Ayush and Ravina, I think you are, I'm getting tempted to say that, we may like to explore, if there are some, common ways in which we can collaborate. That is DELNET and CISCO, because we have with us, around 8,000 plus institutions. And as I said, they are primarily more the academic and R&D organizations. And if we can help out, our institutions in a way, wherein you can have the CISCO labs and we can have these certification programs and other things, and we become like an enhancers in ensuring that, it's again a part of our, it's a networking that we are doing it, helping out the institutions in a way. I think we can in the days to come certainly explore something, on those grounds. So thank you very much, Ayush and Ravina. I can't really thank you enough, both of you, for such a, a wonderful webinar session that we have. Now we are making the floor open for very quick questions, because we have already, it's 4 or 5 right now, and we would just like to make the best use of our distinguished speakers this afternoon with us. So making the floor open for our attendees, requesting you, because of paucity of time, you can put your question in the chat box or raise your digital hand, and we'll be more than happy to give you the audio control wherein you can ask a question. I will be very quick now, sifting through, our list of attendees, and to just pose the first question I can see coming from Ajita Kumari. Ajita, I have unmuted you. Please unmute yourself and be very quick in asking the question. This is for Ajita Kumari GK. Paucity of time, I won't be able to, getting more impatient, because I have to see to it that you respond faster on that. And let me just go to our next attendee who has raised the digital hand, Aisha Sabine. Aisha Sabine, could you please unmute yourself? This is for you, Aisha Sabine. This does happen in
also,
the
everyone, I pasted the umbrella link, free trial links in the chat. You can also reach out to us. Is it visible to everyone? I see organizers and panelists only. How do I share it?
We will just do it from here. We'll just do it from here. Yeah. This is signup.umbrella.com, right? Perfect.
So Ayush, also if you want to share your email ID, if somebody wants to reach out for any umbrella free trials or anything.
We will be doing it. In fact, what we will do is Ayush has already shared his email ID, and I'm just pasting it. And again, in our thank you email, which goes to all the attendees, we are, along with the recording link, which will get uploaded on our YouTube. We are also going to share the details of both of you, so that they can further can communicate. So we'll just be very, very quick in seeing we have any questions that there are, in fact, not many of our professional colleagues, and but because there are plenty of questions after this, I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat box. We have Dr. Mukesh Kumar Meena, who has raised his digital hand. Dr. Mukesh Kumar Meena, we have unmuted you. Would you like to unmute yourself and ask your question quickly? This is for you, Dr. Mukesh Kumar Meena. Could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? We have Dr. Nihar Patra, and Dr. Nihar Patra is wanting to know what are the legal and regulatory implications associated with ransomware attacks, and how can organizations ensure compliances in such situations? So what are the legal and regulatory implications? Are there any legal and regulatory? There would definitely be with the ransomware attacks. And how he's just wanting to be more sure that how, as an organization, one can ensure, the compliances. And Ayush, would you like to say something on this? Ayush, would you like to?
Yeah, I'm audible.
Yes. Hi.
Yeah, very much, Ayush. Yes.
Question. So for all the Indian organization, there are certain guidelines which has been recommended by certain. So I would suggest that that should be taken as your first preference. And then when we comply to other audit compliances like ISO 27001 and SOC 2 compliance, these are other set of framework that can be used for the best practices. When it comes to the organization's networking side, for each side, say for example, endpoint security, firewall, or for email side, it is also advised to follow the NIST framework, which is National Institute of Standardized framework, which is being advised by Department of Defense from United States. So as a global thing, the NIST would be first preference, and whichever is suggested by certain.
Thank you very much, Najib. This is the response that one has to, report these all to certain, and because they remain as a national, center for incidents reporting. So any kind of a breach, anything, any issues that we encounter, into our networks, you are supposed to, inform them within 24 hours, and that's how. And one can go to the certain site. To report that. I just quickly would like to go back to the attendees to see, because could see that we have questions which are being there, but I just would like to firstly see if we have anyone else. Yes, I could see that we have some more professionals who are wanting to. This is for Pramila Murmu, who may like to ask a question. Pramila, could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? This is for you, Pramila Murmu. Could you please unmute yourself and ask the question? I'm afraid, I think, Pramila, you're not able to do that. Let me just quickly go to the next attendee who may like to make the best use of the time. And we have Mr. Rakesh Das. Mr. Rakesh Das, could you please unmute yourself? It does happen in the online. Sometimes you just want to see how this particular feature would work, and that would give a wrong, alarm as if you have raised your hand. This is for Mr. Rakesh Das. Mr. Rakesh Das, could you please unmute yourself? Otherwise, I'm compelled to mute you from here and then to see for our next attendee who may like to ask a question. We have Mr. Sanjeev Chavan. Mr. Sanjeev Chavan, could you please unmute yourself? Mr. Sanjeev Chavan, could you please unmute yourself? This is for you, Mr. Sanjeev Chavan. You need to click to the same, this digital hand that you are able to see. This is for you, Savita Pradhan. Savita, we don't have an audio device which is shown here. So I'm extremely sorry. I can't give you an audio control, though you have raised your digital hand and you may be wanting to. This is for Sonal Chavan. Sonal, could you please unmute yourself? Sonal Chavan. Sonal, could you please unmute yourself to ask your question? Sonal Chavan, could you please unmute yourself? I think we are not able to have a Sukriti Saraf. This is for you, Sukriti. Sukriti Saraf, could you please unmute yourself, Sukriti? Yes, we are connected, Sukriti. This is for you, Sukriti. We are connected right now. Sukriti, we are connected. You may go ahead and ask your question. I believe, though we got connected, but she was not able to. Let me just have a quick look now. We have Mr. Velu E. Mr. Velu E. Could you please unmute yourself, Mr. Velu? This is for you, Mr. Velu E. Could you please unmute yourself? I'll just have a quick look now at the chat box messages. I request both our speakers, just allow me not more than another 1 or 2 minutes. We could see that there are questions there, and just like to. Oh, someone is wanting to know whether even through webinars someone can think about having a ransomware attack. So this is, the most unexpected, question being asked, that whether the webinars, since organizations, everyone is into this, so any vulnerabilities that one can think about having a ransomware attack, someone, intruding into the system through that. And but everyone has been truly appreciative and admire, both of you for being there this afternoon and sharing your huge experience, and expertise on this. Okay, so there is a question from Melroy D'Souza and Ayush, Ravina, you may like to say, and they're wanting to know whether Cisco has got any kind of a placement support for computer science and EC students, because as I said, a large number of engineering colleges are also being connected, and their professional colleagues, their head of the departments, computer science, and many students even, they are also being there. So they just want to know that what Cisco may have in store for the CS and EC students. Would you like to say something on this?
So Sangeeta, there's you can always go on jobs.cisco.com, right? There are jobs available there for the freshers. They can always apply there, and I think the HR takes care after that. And also it depends, if your organization is in connection with the HR of Cisco, then they just come for the placements there. So I am not sure I'm the right person to answer that. It's the HR department that takes care of that.
Perfectly fine. We have a colleague, one of our colleague, who is from a government ministry and wanting to know, that which all government of India ministries, Cisco is. I know that, Cisco is doing, to large number of government ministries, but since he himself is from the government of India, one of the ministry in Delhi, wanting to know that have you been providing the services to the GI ministries and departments? Ayush, you may like to say something.
Well, yes, absolutely, sir. We have been catering to many public sector entities, and of course, the government sectors have very well enabled Cisco into their environment as well. But yes, with some of the customers, we already have a kind of an NDA signed, so we would not be able to, disclose the name of those customers. But certainly, we can have, we can connect, one-on-one, and we can probably have a more in-depth discussion on this, because we do have our public sector specific teams who look after the public sector forums and the government entities, and they probably will be able to, answer you better on that aspect.
One question that repeatedly we're able to see across, and I think already Ravina has mentioned and also Najib has pointed it out, because everyone is more concerned that if their own data is being hacked, and it's being breached, so what really to do in that scenario as an individual, what they are supposed to do, as being mentioned that one has to report it to certain, but anything else other than that, is there something that one has to do?
The first thing is I would give you two mantra that has to be practiced every day. One is having the visibility of what is exiting from your network. That is a strong understanding of how many devices are part of your scope, what are they accessing, even if they are remote workers, or even if it is part of your network, because you will be held responsible for any infection which is being initiated from your network and then which is being infected to your network. So that is one is visibility and control on all your assets. The second one would be backup, and backup. Always have scheduled backup as a habit, at least once in a month, a partial backup, and a full backup at least once in 3 months. So usually what happens is, even if the ransomware encrypts entire system, instead of paying the ransom, we can restore the backup from the previously stored one. So you can just continue with your operations without even having any hampering the network operations. So these two should be always taken care: visibility and backup.
Thank you very much, Najib. One thing, I just want to ask you, because, we know ourselves, number of cases wherein even with the most prestigious institutions, even the data backup copies also, they get corrupted, they are being compromised, because the issue happens because in today's day and time, we are using devices for everything, and connected device means, yes, you are, it is you can't really can keep it now close, and it's not an offline thing that you feel that no one can reach out here. So, and we how do we safeguard in that scenario? Because even we have more automated backups which are being there, more scheduled backups that we are doing it now. It's not a manual backup, which is entirely the system is out from the network and you're just keeping it, it's unplugged kind of a thing. Anything which is plugged now, it is vulnerable then, So, and how do we, this is when you say that these mantras for the backup, so, but how really to safeguard, that even those backup copies, they also remain away from, because once the intrusion is done, even there are reported cases even wherein the backups, they fail, backups fail in a way that they are even being, you cannot. So what do you mean? Are we leading to, this entire discussion is now, are we leading to some kind of a hybrid environment? Are we hinting towards that we still need to have, besides having everything online, everything going digital, is it also that, if you think about being secure, so keeping something offline, you may go for a manual operation and, have a backup and put it and saying no one can ever, unless and until someone barged in physically, no one can ever come and can intrude. So what would be your take? Because the more we are getting sophisticated with the technology, the more higher we are finding the vulnerabilities around. How really to safeguard? Even the backups are creating it's getting breached. Let's be very straight that even the backups, even copies, and then you have these the vault system and all that which are coming in, they say that no, you can put it, you have a backup and another one, you put it in the vault, and even no 100% hit. Even beside in spite of putting in a lot much of your your efforts to see to it, but it's not 100%, so you still have a chance. How would you like to react to this scenario? What would be from Cisco, how do we really anticipate, how do we really think about securing in this digital environment when everything is just vulnerable? And what would be your mantra, that you may like everyone, to follow?
So, Sangeeta, I would just say that, right? Even if there are block of walls, right? I close everything and it is all locked, I still feel unsafe. So that is always going to be there, and you should feel that way, right? That's when you'll be alert. So the day you feel that you're safe, you have all the security solutions in place, that's where you're ready for an attack. So of course there's going to always be that that thing in mind that you're not safe, it's going to be this way or that way. I would just say that, right, you have to just be prepared, right? That's why I say the 3 strategies that you need to use before, after, and during an attack, what you do. So just be prepared for that, because no matter how many locks, how many doors we close, the attacker are smart and try to somehow come in some or the other way. So that's what I would just say. Anything else from anybody, Ayush or Najat, if you want to put across?
Adding to that, to your question, how do we make sure that even our backups are safe? So there are 2 things that we'll have to consider. One is on the side of the network operations, and then another one of the end user perspective. So on the network operations, you should always have your golden image, which can be restored at any time, which is a sanitized version, should be stored out of band. It should not be connected to your local network. When it comes to the end users, it is always advised to have an offline hard drives where you can store that out of band as well. So I felt very bad for one of the leading threat investigation where the doctor lost the research documentation from her last 5 to 10 years. So if there would have been any backup, it could be in small pen drive or some in another personal Google Drive. It always try to do in an out of band other than your corporate network hard drive, corporate network SAN storage. It should be in a secondary way.
Thank you very much for this. Yeah, this is also the situation we encounter, in our institutional libraries. And that's how, because we get the data from the institutions for putting it into our centralized repository, which again gets, disseminated to all the institutions. And then we do encounter the cases wherein the library colleagues, they would approach and saying that, ma'am, we don't have a backup. and the hard disk has crashed or some problem has happened, and then we have to give it back, the data. But again, you can give them back whatsoever, that they had given, not till the current, unless and until, so whatever is the, the currency, that only you can give it back. So those issues, backup issues, I think there's a greater need for sensitizing the professionals, at large. We just take for granted, that the things are going to, just remain, working. And as we could see, this preparedness is a very important thing, mentally to be prepared. Something happens, what are we going to do? It really has been a wonderful webinar, and it's not just simply deliberations. We have in fact been able to create a kind of a new thinking. We have been able to re-energize, everyone here who have been here today with us, and many more others, who are also going to get benefited as these deliberations are also going to be made available. And it's very heartening to know that many of our professional colleagues, even from their HOD departments, that they have sent a mail saying that we do hope that the session is getting recorded and Cisco would allow you to make it available, because we really want, many others to also get benefited who may not be able to join. So with the permission of our speakers, we may like to make it available so that many more others who have not been able to join today may get really benefited out of it. And it is also, let me also convey that DELNET may like to also explore in the days to come that how we can further create a kind of some very specific programs that we can conduct for our institutions. And the purpose remains the same, to just make everyone more secured, and this can be right at the institutional level. This can be for our young students who are there, maybe in the form of internships or any kind of a thing, And I think, but we have definitely opened up new vistas today, which we would be very happy to explore further. So thank you very much, Ravina. Thank you very much, Ayush, and thank you, Najib, for being there with us. And this is firstly on behalf of DELNET and behalf of each one of us. This is for you, Ravina, for giving us and making everyone feel so enriched today, with your very wonderful deliberations that you have been able to, give today. And thank you so very much. We really look forward, and we do hope that this would take a position somewhere, at your desk. Even in this digital environment, the physical elephant coming in all the way, a dual-sided one. We do hope that you would like to have it. With great sense of appreciation for you, for the wonderful work that you are doing it. This is for you, Ravina. Thank you so very much indeed. Thank you. Would really love to, see you sometime with Ayush here at Delhi, in New Delhi office, and we'll be really happy. And this is for you, Ayush. I can't really thank you enough. I wasn't really knowing that just one email and that to such a prompt reply coming back. You're such a wonderful colleague, have been able to discover with such a great values for associations, for connections and collaborations. It's not that you are at Cisco for 15 years, you have got such a huge, experience with you. You swear by that. You every moment you are, demonstrating it so strongly. It's not that just simply you are handling the networking products, It is you so strongly believes in networking the connections for something better, for something more purposeful. We wish you the very best, and thank you so very much for making it possible for DELNET to organize a session today. This is for you, with great sense of appreciation for you and for the wonderful work that you're doing, Ayush. God bless you. God bless you indeed. And we also would like to acknowledge the presence of Najib with us today. And Najib, this is for you. And for the wonderful, inputs that you have given. I will just remember the 2 mantras that, I think, and each one of us would, once you get up in the morning, you should firstly remember, what is a mantra now, So the mantras that we are going to really, really, remember all the time to make ourselves feel more secured, and also to let the world be a better place, more secure place. Thank you very much. We have truly appreciated your inputs that you have been able to share with us this afternoon, and valued your presence over here. And we really look forward to having all three of you sometime here at New Delhi office here in Delhi. And it would be really a pleasure to come out of the digital and also to have the conversations, It would truly be a pleasure for us. Thank you so very much indeed, everyone at Cisco for making it, this truly, a memorable webinar session. And this is again a beginning that we have made. It's, starting off on many new fronts, and we would really be happy enough, to see to it that we are able to carry this message of making everyone, sensitizing professionals is a very important thing, the policymakers, the decision makers, and we are talking about, it's more about the individuals, it's more to do with the institutions, and there's much at stake. So we have to really see to it that collaboratively, cohesively, we are able to do something better for the society at large. Thank you so very much indeed, Ayush. Thank you, Ravina, and thank you, Najib. It has been a wonderful pleasure for us for having each one of you with us. Yeah, thank you very much.
And we would like to thank you to all the attendees for being a part of this session. It was wonderful interacting with all of you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much indeed. And a big thank you to each one of you, our very dearest colleagues who have been able to join us, not only from different nooks and parts of the country, but from also many other countries. And we're strongly exhibiting that, yes, together, we can make a difference, And thank you so very much. We have greatly valued your time and efforts in being there with us, and we really look forward to having you back again. Also, let me share with you that we are going to send it across to you, the link for the entire video recording session. And along with this, we are also going to share, with the permission of Ayush and Ravina, their contact details, so that you can write. And perhaps, Ayush, I would send you an email, because we would like to, I was able to see some of the reports, very latest reports at Cisco's website, which would be something very good, like if we can share with our colleagues, who have attended the session. I will formally be writing to you to get your approval before we send across. It's in the public domain, but still, we would really like to have a consent coming from your side. So thank you very much, one and all. We really look forward to having many more deliberations in the days to come. Thank you so much. And a quick word, by sharp 5 o'clock, you are going to receive a certificate of participation given with great sense of appreciation from DELNET and Cisco for each one of you. So once you open that, do remember that has been given with a great sense of appreciation, appreciating your time and efforts in being there. And thank you very much for making the session so enriching and engaging. Thank you very much. Thank you, one and all. God bless you all, and wishing you the best of the times ahead. Stay happy, stay blessed, stay connected, and do stay informed. Thank you very much. Thank you. Great honor and pleasure. Thank you once again, Ayush. Thank you, Ravina, and thank you, Najib. Thank you very much, and thank you, each one of you. Also, my very special thanks to my own colleague, Mr. Kushal Goswami, who coordinates our webinar sessions. Has been a great honor and pleasure having each one of you today. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Ayush. Thank you. God bless. God bless you. Thank you. God bless you all. Thank you very much. Thank you.